Hey guys, welcome to the chat. I am just getting my XSplit running here, and let's get up here. There we go. I gotta get rid of this layer here. Sorry guys, this is always interesting getting all of these pieces up and working. Welcome to the live chat. We are here on YouTube and on Twitch.tv. Let me get my Twitch up here working. We're almost there. Oh, I'm just turning off the wrong things altogether. And let me get this, add a screen capture right over here. I like video games. Welcome to the chat. Great to see you. Hopefully, we'll get some folks in here to help take care of the trolls, which I'm sure will happen, because it just does. And let's get that running here. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I haven't mastered the art of handling all of the intricacies. Hey, Jenna. Nice. Excellent. It's good to see you in here, Jenna. Yeah, I haven't mastered all the intricacies of getting all of this stuff up and running before I make everything work. So hopefully, in fact, let me make sure I don't need to have that running there. And let me turn off the chat window for just a second. Oh, you did? Excellent. That absolute black stuff. Yeah, Jenna was asking me about a chocolate that I found at Trader Joe's that is 100% cacao, and it's like super black chocolate. There we go. Trying to get my frame rate working a little better by providing better light. Anyway, we'll be doing a book giveaway later this hour, and a little heads up to Jonathan, who won the last giveaway, which was he won the Wheat Belly DVD set. So Jonathan, if you're watching, please be patient. I have not mailed it off yet, and that is my bad totally, but I'm going to mail it off to you free of charge. You'll get the Wheat Belly DVD set. And I'm not sponsored by any of these people. I'm not endorsing any of these people, but I do tell you what I think about it. And excellent. So let me turn off these chat windows for just a second here, and then I'm going to hop over here and see if I can make sure that the chat is working on this stream. And I've already tweeted out, so we are already like spammed all over Twitter and Facebook, and I probably should like start doing like Instagram and all that stuff, but I don't really give myself enough time. I give myself 2 songs to get going, and that's it. Let me make sure that I've got the pop out thing working right. Done. And welcome to the chat. And let's go back over here. And back over here. And I know I'm just like blowing all you guys crazy, driving you nuts with all the switching back and forth. Okay, so the chat is working, and we are up and running. So for the next, I don't know, 50 minutes or so. Yeah, yeah. maybe you can help me out with that, Jenna. I could use some counseling on the use of XSplit and OBS. I've got XSplit licensed through February because I won a subscription to it. You guys are seeing a Carl's Jr. thing, and that's because the guys from our church, a few of us went down to Carl's Jr., and somebody, the pastor was asking us where can we go to have some lunch, and I was suggesting Carl's Jr. because I like to get an unsweetened iced tea and a double half-pound guacamole bacon thick burger, and that's what I had. And it's an impressive burger, and people are sometimes intimidated by the looks of it. Anyway, yeah, I need to get Nightbot working properly on YouTube, and I would have had a mod in my YouTube tonight if it were last night, but I was working at the club last night, so I didn't stream last night. And so the guy that probably would be helping me out, Vengeance, is not here right now. At least not yet. But maybe he might join us. And Jenna, if you'd like to, I don't know how possible it is, but if you'd like to mod, that'd be awesome. I don't know how you feel about that, but anyway, for you guys who are in the dark, Jenna works with me. And any of you guys who are watching this on Facebook, if you'll jump over to YouTube using your Google account, you can join the chat on there, or if you have a Twitch membership, be sure to join us right over on Twitch. Which, it's funny, last week it was really an experiment using this Restream. I'm using Restream to stream live on both Twitch and YouTube, and it works a heck of a lot more smoothly than streaming live directly on YouTube. And I like to feed my YouTube regularly, but I haven't been doing it regularly because it doesn't work very well from where I'm located. But Restream seems to work just fine. And I'm trying to give Facebook a little less of my traffic via doing live streaming on Facebook. As much as I enjoy the engagement that I get from Facebook. Anyway, so this is a chat about keto. For those of you who have not joined my channel before, this is a chat about low-carb, high-fat nutrition. I am not a doctor. I cannot give you medical advice. However, I can tell you all about the experiences that I've had doing this nutritional approach and the observations that I've made doing this nutritional approach, and some of the people with me. I have helped people in their journey to reversing their type 2 diabetes, losing vast amounts of weight or losing small amounts of weight. Some people just want to be around longer for their family. And what we need is for the actual medical and nutritional communities to come together with real truth and not the kind of bogus corporate nonsense that we have had. Jackson, welcome to the chat, Jackson. This is great because Jackson is a wealth of music trivia knowledge, and he and I have shared some great chats. Really great. So nice to see you, Jackson. And we are going to do some talking about various things regarding ketogenic nutrition. And just to give you guys a preview of the books that we're going to be giving away later this hour, the 30-Day Low-Carb Diet Solution. This is by Michael and Mary Dan Eads. Both of them are medical doctors, and both of them highly advocate a low-carb approach. This book particularly is more geared toward protein, and but I will say that both Michael and Mary Dan Eads are very heavy advocates of ketogenic nutrition. So we have the Wheat Belly hardback and paperback editions as well. William Davis talking about all the various myriad of reasons why you should not be eating grain. And the New Atkins for a New You. This is the actual diet book by Eric Westman and Stephen Finney and Jeff Bullock. All of these guys are very well studied, and this actually, the New Atkins for New You book is actually what changed Timothy Noakes' whole life. Timothy Noakes is one of the guys that came up with that whole idea of using carbohydrate gel packs for runners, and those same gel packs helped to make him type 2 diabetic. This book helped him to reverse it. So I do note that in this book they talk about reintroducing grains. I don't recommend, I can't give you medical advice. Eric Westman is a medical doctor, but I don't really think that adding grains back to your diet is a great idea. Not from my experience. And Atkins Corporation, their books do tend to endorse Atkins products, which not only contain grain and sometimes contain soy and some other fake food stuff that I don't really care for. So this is also the workbook. If you already have the New Atkins for New You book, this workbook might be handy for you. And this contains like pages for journaling your progress and journaling how you feel and just personal questions about what you ate and all that kind of stuff. So those books will be one of those books will be awarded to somebody. Jackson asks, is eating only bananas and drinking fruit smoothies in a good way to lose weight? Bryce, I'm not overweight, but my tummy hangs out just a little bit. I may be able to shave off a little bit of fat for maybe a week or two, I mean. So a lot of people have a great fear of giving up natural sugars. And I will say this, that a little fat around the middle is sometimes normal, but sometimes it's also an indication of, and again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm just qualifying that, but it can be sometimes an indication of ectopic fat. And ectopic is, again, just another fancy medical term for not where it's supposed to be. Ectopic fat can be wrapped around your organs or can be in your organs. You can have fatty liver, fatty pancreas. Fatty liver, the primary cause of fatty liver, according to most doctors that I've been checking into, is fructose, because fructose as a sugar can only be handled in the liver, whereas glucose can be handled by almost all the cells in the body, the brain, the muscle tissue. They can use it as raw fuel, glucose, but fructose has to be processed in the liver. And as a result of that, it can cause a lot of extra wear and tear on the liver. And the liver can create fat deposits in the liver. And you can also get fatty pancreas from it because you're constantly secreting insulin to try to get rid of that sugar. And it has to be processed in the liver. So you end up with fatty liver or fatty pancreas, which is virtually always a predecessor to type 2 diabetes. So I think that bananas, if you're not insulin resistant, which there are ways to find out, but it's kind of a costly lab test. If you are insulin resistant, then then eating bananas is probably not an option. And fruit smoothies are kind of overrated. If you're looking for the vitamins and minerals that you can get in fruit smoothies, I would recommend finding low sugar types of equivalents. So, for instance, if you're looking for a potassium, there's way more potassium in an avocado. Now, if you eat enough avocados, that's not really low carb, but avocados are way less sugar. I can easily eat a whole avocado a day and never gain a pound. But if I ate a banana every day, I guarantee you, I would start packing on pounds really quick. Especially if I ate a lot of bananas. And if I did like fruit smoothies, that would be so much sugar that I would almost immediately begin packing on, several pounds a week. So yeah, no, I don't think that adding sugar, primarily sugar, because potassium is a valuable asset of bananas, but it is not the most prevalent asset of bananas. The most prevalent asset of bananas is sugar. So it's a lot of sugar to be taken in for the little bit of potassium that you get from a banana. And for a week or two, I think you could do way more effective ways to lose that weight. Like if you did the bacon experiment for 2 weeks, I think you would find a far more profound result than if you did it with bananas. Yeah, if you're not insulin resistant, I think that fruit once in a while is great, especially if you were to focus on like trying to eat bananas when they were in season locally, because and I know that like they're in season somewhere all the time, right? And that's why we can get bananas all year round and oranges all year round. But if you were to focus on, like one area, right? One area close by, if you could find local fruits or something like that, find a place where bananas are local. Eat them only when they're in season during that time, and you'd probably be okay. I think when we got away from eating food when it was in season, I think that was where we kind of got into a mess, and when someone said you need to eat this many servings of this and this and this and this and this, and there was a market to be created by doing that, that's where we went wrong. And even in the ketogenic community, where people have created a market for it, that's a problem, because some of the products that they are pushing and some of the angles that they're going at it, like for instance, cauliflower has jumped up in price 3 or 4-fold in some places. You can't get a cauliflower in some places for less than $10. One cauliflower floret, or one cauliflower head, which is ridiculous, because you used to be able to get it for $1.99 not that long ago. 2-3 years ago, you could get a head of cauliflower for $1.99. You're hard pressed to find that now. But anytime that this marketing starts playing a part in it, and especially in the pharmaceutical market, but when food marketing comes into it, then you start encountering problems and conflicts with real solid nutrition. So just eat real food, like I say, JERF, J-E-R-F, just eat real food. And I like to focus on like thinking about when it's in season and eating it moderately. If you think about, even I don't like to think about like the Paleolithic era. Okay, I Want My Baby Back by Jimmy Cross. So if anybody wants to look up that song and listen to it, that's great. I think that when we think about eating these things constantly, that's when we have a problem with fruits, especially sugary type things. Even berries, which I usually recommend to people after the first couple weeks of trying low carb, high fat, because they're pretty nutrient dense and they're fairly low in sugar. But if you eat enough berries, you're no longer eating low carb. And I think that that sort of can get in the way of you having a successful time with keto. Also, you know, I think that when you're referring to smoothies, that's great. It's better than juicing, I think, because in juicing you extract some of the more important things, some of the more nutrient dense stuff. Like for an orange, you know, the fibrous part of it, and I'm not talking about the fiber, I'm talking about the fibrous part of it, actually contains most of the nutrients. The fruit, the meat, the liquidy jelly part of an orange is mostly sugar. And most of the vitamin C you would probably think is in there, right? No, it's mostly in the peel and in the whiter parts of the orange where there's most of the nutrition. Yeah, sweet potato types have sugar, yes, and many people still eat some amounts of sweet potatoes or yams on keto. Some people can have a higher threshold. And in some cases you can get away with that. I don't do potatoes of any kind myself. I will do like spaghetti squash or something like that, and make. I have made like a spaghetti squash crisp for holidays, and that's wonderful. Again, if anybody on Twitch has any kind of questions or anything, and it's always good to keep the conversation moving along with questions. That's what I'm here for. The whole point of me doing this live chat, because otherwise I could just post videos about my thoughts and they wouldn't be an hour long. But when we have like input from you guys, that is always way better. See if I can move this Twitch stream chat down some. There we go. Hey, look at that. Now you're sort of head to head. Anyway, sorry that I missed you guys yesterday. Saturday was, I was really hoping to do a live stream every Saturday, but it seems that I'm going to have some scheduling conflicts with my work. And then there's probably going to be more changes coming up. I'm not sure. It's either going to be Saturday or Sunday, so I hope that you guys can keep joining me. It's super great to see you guys here. And no, I'm not endorsing Carl's Jr. I should probably turn that some. You know what? I need to get like some gaff tape for my cup or something. Drinking that unsweetened Gold Peak tea. I honestly could only drink water and seltzer, sparkling water, for the rest of my life if I was forced to. It wouldn't be hard. And milk is a joke. Well, in my opinion, at least. You know what? I agree. Milk has been, we've been sold a bill of goods on milk. Everybody's like, milk, it does a body good, and got milk, and milk is a great source of calcium. Well, guess what? Kale is a great source of calcium, and it doesn't have the sugar that milk has in it. Milk has lactose, the milk sugar. It is not low carbohydrate. And eating and drinking 8 ounces of milk will give you enough sugar to kick you right out of ketosis for the day. And it has sodium caseinate in it. Casein is a milk protein that is known to inhibit calcium absorption. So drink a glass of milk, you can't absorb any calcium for the rest of the day. So you just don't really ever get calcium from milk. You'd be better off to eat some spinach or eat some kale or almost anything else, and you get enough calcium in your day. Just eating real food, you get enough calcium from other places. What creates bone density is not dietary calcium. What creates bone density is ride a horse, jump some rope, do some jumping jacks, you know, pound a hammer, create some stress on your bones, and you will create bone density. You will create strong bones that don't break when the wind blows. Hilariously, growing up, I broke several bones, even doing meager things. One time I broke my pinky hugging my nephew. No, it broke my index finger hugging my nephew. And back then, I drank milk every day. My mom will tell you, I drank milk till the cows went away, and I broke bones. Well, two things happened when I was in my late 20s and realized that milk was a problem for me digestively. One, I stopped drinking milk, and two, I also didn't break any more bones. So the two things kind of happened at the same time. I can't prove that one caused the other, but I've had some like knock down, drag out accidents, and I haven't broken any more bones since I stopped drinking milk. Go figure. Put a lot more stress on my bones. Stop drinking milk. Don't break bones anymore. I can't say I don't have any problems, but, you know, I haven't broken any bones. Really strange. But I do agree, milk is a joke. And if you guys like this video, please do give it a like, and please, as we're going along, please share it so that we can get this out live. I'm here for the next half hour, so if you guys are interested in helping me out and getting the word out about low carb, high fat, or getting some people in here, even to play the devil's advocate or something. No trolls allowed, but if you wanna have a debate or a conversation, let's do it. This would be the place. Yeah, Jenna, if you're still watching, I need to figure out a way to get this this live chat thing over here. Get that window to automatically come up in the right place from the right source. I know there's an XSplit add-on for it, and I'm not sure. I hear it's kind of broken. So, and I didn't like the way that it looked. I just like the plain chat thing. It's easier to read. Maybe I can resize this a little bit, huh? And bring it down. There we go. Another question, is it true that people with autism have problems with certain food textures? As somebody with Asperger's, when I was a little boy, I could only eat Kraft mac and cheese and fish. Yeah, that's true. People with autism can have many seemingly odd nuances to their tastes and to their preferences. It could be any number of things, and some things might be very frightening or disturbing to them that we would see as matters of regular life. So yeah, food textures can be a big deal for folks with autism, and I have heard of people using ketogenic nutrition for autism spectrum disorders. You know, when I was little, I wouldn't eat cheese at all. I can't get enough of it now, but when I was little, I just hated it. My parents had to force me to eat it. I love cheese now. Back we would get, Julie and I, back when we weren't doing keto, we would get Kraft mac and cheese, and we would make it with heavy cream instead of milk, and we would add more cheese to it. Now, the stuff that's in Kraft mac and cheese, that's barely cheese. It's some kind of mutant cheese-like something or other. Not sure what it is, but you make your mac and cheese with heavy cream. It'll teach you. It'll change your life. You can make pseudo mac and cheese with cauliflower florets. So if you chop it up about the size of elbow macaroni and cover it with cheese, and simmer some cheese and heavy cream together, and steam yourself some cauliflower, and just pour that sauce on there like that. Heavy cream and real cheese, you just can't beat it. You just can't beat it. And if you absolutely had to have that kind of gelatinous, plasticky texture, you could add a little bit of xanthan gum, like a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum to, a regular batch of what you would make into mac and cheese. And that might give you that kind of familiar gelatinous processed cheese kind of feel, mouth feel. Thanks for the answers, Bryce. You're a great help when answering questions. And yes, most box mac and cheese mixes are a joke. Too much artificial and unhealthy crap. But there are some substitutes. Yeah, I think it's best to make your own food. We don't eat hardly any. I mean, we just barely eat a single packaged meal ever in this house. We were just talking, just before I started the stream, we were talking about rotisserie chicken. So the rotisserie chicken that you get from the store, if you ever read the ingredients on rotisserie chickens that you get at the store, like you get the whole chicken for, somewhere between $3 and $6 or something. It's cheap for dinner. You get to eat, for the whole family can eat off of this one chicken, right? And one time I went to the store and I asked the person in the meat department, is it possible to get one of these chickens without the brown sugar? Like without the brine, without the marinade or whatever it is, right? Because I thought, well, these are freshly rotisserie chicken, right? Freshly roasted rotisserie chicken. But you look at the ingredients and it shows one of the ingredients is brown sugar. Sometimes it shows a modified food starch. And a lot of the times the modified food starches or vegetable oils, it might be soy-based. Modified food starch just means starch, and starch turns to sugar in your blood. So since I'm trying to avoid brown sugar, along with all other sugars and starches, I want to find out, can I get a chicken just rotisserie done without, I'll walk through the store and do the rest of my shopping while you rotisserie roast this chicken. What I found out is most of the butchers don't even know where this brown sugar ingredient comes from. But I finally found one of the meat department people that knew what was going on with these chickens. Here's what happens: these rotisserie chickens come on the truck, individually wrapped, like in a plastic bubble, thing, pouch, with the brine that has the brown sugar. It's marinating in the brown sugar brine when it comes to the store, off the truck. So these whole chickens, now this is true of Sam's Club, Costco, Albertsons, Safeway, Smith's, Fred Meyer's, all the places where you get these prepackaged, already rotisserie. They roast it up at the store. It is freshly roasted. But that brine, that seasoning, all that mix that's on the ingredients list there, it comes brined in that to the store before it actually even gets to the rotisserie. So that to me was really heartbreaking, because I just love to get them to just take a chicken, right, a whole fryer, just like they do with these fryers that they're getting, and put it on the rotisserie and just fry it up for me. That'd be great. I just don't, I don't want to deal with it, and I would just love for them to just cook it for me. But evidently, that's not an option. So I would hope that stores, if there's ever anybody in charge of these stores who watches this stream, if you could make that an option, because, keto is a thing now, It's the only thing that I have in common with Kim Kardashian and Halle Berry. And it would be nice to be able to go to the store and just get a rotisserie chicken that doesn't have any of that stuff on it. Maybe just put some salt and pepper. Just salt and pepper. No brown sugar needed. Don't need brown sugar. I know why you put brown sugar. Make that chicken more addictive. Anybody watching this stream have an opinion on that Jimmy Cross song? I wish I owned the 45 for it. I love the music trivia. And it's also cool to get like some conversation going outside of just between me and the person in front of me. And I'm going to check out something real quick. Let me turn off the chat for 2 seconds here. All right. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to get the Facebook comments and the YouTube chat and the XSplit stuff all going together on this thing. One of these days. There we go. Whoop, we're almost there. Getting weird chunks of screen. Okay. I just don't have that on lockdown yet. I haven't figured it out. Anyway, we're coming up on the quarter to the hour. I'm going to be giving away in about 3 minutes. It'll probably take me about 3 minutes to get through this, so I'm just going to tell you about the books. So the New Atkins for New You workbook, you can have either that, or you can have the New Atkins for New You actual diet book. Now the workbook is just useful for you if you already own this, and it will help you. The workbook is for you to journal all your food and your weight loss journey and all of that business, your health journey. Journal your personal feelings on how you're doing. So all of that stuff is in this workbook. The New Atkins for New You is the book that actually teaches you how to do Atkins, and Atkins is a form of a ketogenic diet. And Eric Westman and Stephen Finney and Jeff Volek, all respected authors, writers, and speakers in the ketogenic community. So if you want to have the New Atkins for New You workbook or the book itself, let me know in the comments down below that you're interested in a book. Now, I have the paperback and the hardback of Wheat Belly by Dr. William Davis, MD. This is the book that teaches you all about why you should not eat grain and how it turns to sugar in your body and how it's very inflammatory, and it has elements in it that turn into basically the equivalent of opiates in your brain. Why you should not eat grain. That is available to you if you're interested. All you have to do is write in the comments or the chat, either on Twitch or on YouTube or even on Facebook. And even if you're watching the replay of this, if you leave it in the comments and you say you're interested and no one else has already claimed it, if you're the first person to claim it, I will give this to you for free. I'll mail it off to you free of charge. And then lastly, the one thing that I have left here is the 30-day low-carb diet solution by Michael and Mary Dan Eads. Both of them are medical doctors who are very prevalent in the low-carb, high-fat, ketogenic community. And Dr. Michael Eads, you might be familiar with him. He actually is the guy who came up with the concept, which Atkins adopted, of net carbohydrates. So when you think about, like, you take your total carbohydrate and you subtract the fiber content from it, or the sugar alcohol content from it. Now his intention was not to subtract the sugar alcohol content, and to truth be told, sugar alcohols can have differing glycemic indexes and blood sugar impacts on different people. And if you want more information about that, I'll put a link in the YouTube description and the Twitch description that talks about the different reactions people can have to different kinds of sugar alcohols and different kinds of artificial sweeteners. Keto Connect did a really great video recently where they talked about all these different sweeteners, and I'll put a link to that. But Michael Eads is the guy who invented the concept of net carbs, and he actually talked about, I think it was on Diet Doctor, he talked about how he did a great disservice to the low-carb community by talking about net carbs. And his original intention was just to introduce people to eating more vegetables, nutrient-dense vegetables that were high in fiber, so that they could get those nutrients that they were missing by cutting out all the carbohydrate. So anyway, Michael and Mary Dan Eads are very well studied on ketogenic nutrition, and they use it regularly in their own practices. I, however, am not a doctor. I cannot give you any kind of medical advice, but what I can do is tell you my own experiences and the experiences of several of my peers and friends and family who have followed in my footsteps, for lack of a better word. I don't even mean to boast about that, but people who have taken the bull by the horns and changed their life for the better by adopting ketogenic nutrition as their life. And I got nothing to sell. As long as I can, I got nothing to sell. I ain't selling you nothing. I ain't charging for this. Just want to, you know what, if you want to pay me, do like Nancy was saying, pay us in likes and loves and hearts and stuff on Facebook and retweets and shares and hosting my Twitch stream on your channel if you can, if you like that kind of thing. It'd be great. I would consider that a great service that you could help me out with that. If you share this on Facebook and Twitch and Instagram it and whatever you want to do. You're doing me a great service, because my main objective is to try to impact as many people as possible. I do believe that this is my calling, to try to share the truth about nutrition to people who have been indoctrinated into believing that all of this life of chronic illness and chronic obesity and diabetes and cancer is just a part of our future. As we get older, things just break down and bad things happen. And, you know, I'm just not convinced that that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm convinced that that's what's happened, but I'm not convinced that that's the way it's supposed to be. And no, I'm not a Dr. House, although I have been accused of being way too big of a fan of Dr. House. I watched every single episode. That's sad. I wonder how many minutes or how many hours of House MD that there have been, and if that's terrible thing to have thrown away minutes and hours of my life on watching House MD. Some people it's Game of Thrones, right? Some people it's House MD. Now it's The Good Doctor. I like watching The Good Doctor. Jackson, have you watched The Good Doctor? It's made by the same folks, so thought I'd ask. I think it's a great show. I love it. Hey, if anybody who's watching this was on Nancy Childress's stream earlier, please give this a thumbs up and give me a comment or something and let me know. And I shared my before and after pictures, at least as close as I can get to the before and after pictures from when I was 257 pounds, which originally I was 285 pounds. That's, I think, the heaviest I ever got was 285 pounds. And now I'm 168 pounds, give or take a pound or two, you know, on a daily basis. And I have a 30-inch waistline versus the 50-inch waistline that I started out with. We were talking about loose skin too. When you lose a lot of weight, like so many of us have, you end up with loose skin, right? But part of one of the things that I also incorporated into my life was intermittent fasting, which basically essentially means, if you're doing it correctly, it essentially just means you ain't eating when you're not hungry. And so if you're hungry once a day at the same time, just eat then, and eat all your calories then if you want to. Or, you know, if you're hungry within an 8-hour window, eat all your food within an 8-hour window. The shorter you can get that window to be, the longer the window gets to be when you're not eating. And it takes about 16 hours for you to exhaust all the glycogen stores, which is long chains of glucose molecules that are stored in your body. It takes about 16 hours to get all the glucose and the glycogen stores out of your body. And then your insulin starts to drop dramatically after that. It starts to really bottom out. And your body will go into gluconeogenesis, creating the glucose that it needs for the rest of its functions during that time, if it needs to, which you should have some needs all the time, because your brain burns 600 calories a day all by itself. And if you're burning carbs for a living, then you're burning all those calories from glucose. If you are burning fat, like those who are doing ketogenic nutrition, then you have to get your glucose some other way. And so the body will create glucose through the process called gluconeogenesis in the liver. And it'll create all of the calories of glucose that it needs. Jackson, yes, I watch The Good Doctor sometimes, but sometimes not, because I have to get up early on Tuesdays to go to my charter school. I watched every episode of Stranger Things, my brother and dad. I haven't watched all of Stranger Things 2. I'm somehow not as intrigued with Stranger Things 2 as I was with Stranger Things. I don't think it's you know, some people say the original was always better, and I'm not sure that the original was better than Stranger Things 2, but for some reason I'm not as interested in Stranger Things 2 as I was with Stranger Things. I thought Stranger Things was excellent. I don't know. Once everybody blew up at the end, I don't know, maybe that was like the climax, and I didn't feel the same love after that. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, for those of you who remember the books, these books are still available. No one has claimed them yet. So we got about 5 minutes or so left of the stream. If you want to say you're interested, just say you're interested in the comments down below, or you can do it on Facebook. The first one to claim the book or any of these books, just let me know in a private message what your credentials are, and I will send it off to you free of charge through media mail, as long as you're in the US. Sorry, I'm too cheap to mail it overseas and deal with customs and all that business. So y'all better just have some patience and don't hate on me. And yes, Jackson, I know all about scheduling conflicts. That's why I'm here on Sunday instead of Saturday. I like to do my stream right before Tony's, and then I can go on Tony's stream and enjoy that, and I can't do that today. And I was working yesterday, so I couldn't get on Tony's stream yesterday. And I love Tony. So you guys who haven't checked him out, Tony likes to say he tells you about the food that's going to kill you, and I tell you about the food that's going to save your life. So, yeah, Tony over that Old Nerd Reviews, both on Twitch and YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter. Just hit him up, Tony Thomas of the Old Nerd Reviews channel. And by the way, just a little pat, I'm going to toot my own horn for Tuesday. I got a horn that's this big. Maximum humility, you know. Maximum humility. This is my little horn toot for the day, and that is, I'm the guy that came up with the name Old Nerd Reviews. I was like, Old Nerd, that's got to be your brand, right? We were talking about that, and I was like, that's your thing, man. You're an old nerd, just like me. I'm an old nerd too, you know. You're an old nerd. It's really kind of that is your thing, and yeah. Jackson, indeed. I'm a senior this year, going to community college this fall, studying the art of filmmaking, movies, and music videos. Fantastic, Jackson. You know, I actually taught at an art school. I taught film at an art school. And most of the people that I taught were between the ages of 12 and 18. And some of the amazing work that these kids did. And I know of at least one of these kids who has made it his life goal to be a professional filmmaker. And that's wonderful. Vengeance! Hey, Vengeance! Vengeance is here in the last 3 minutes of the program. Vengeance, well, you're always welcome, but we haven't had any trolls today, but I do appreciate you coming. And for those of you who are not familiar with the stream, I do this every weekend, and I can, let me do, let's see, I can check here, and let's just check quickly while I'm still on with you guys. I can find out what my schedule is and find out if I can stream on Saturday again, because I really want to be like regular with you guys, because I love this whole thing. I love streaming, and I love that that restream makes it so much simpler. Vengeance, you're not eating low carb. That's apples. Apples are, yeah, anyway. I won't say apples are bad for you, but if you're insulin resistant, you should probably think about some other option. Oh my goodness, I gotta get mine. I'm trying to look up my schedule. Oh my goodness. There we go. Can tell you in a second. Can you please watch my homemade video, Hello Skinny? by the residents, please, on my channel. Sure. I will. I promise. Right after I'm off of this. Let's look at next week. Oh my goodness. I'm beeping for some reason. Oh, that's right, because it's time to get off the stream, but I'm going to tell you that next Saturday I will be streaming at 4 p.m. right here on YouTube and Twitch, and I will be tweeting it out on Twitter and pasting the link on Facebook and hopefully on Instagram, and hopefully we'll get Jenna back in here and Vengeance, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And we are going to say goodbye, but I want to thank Jenna, I want to thank Jackson, I want to thank Vengeance for coming in, and I will see you next week. And any of y'all that are interested in the book, you got 24 hours to claim the book. If you want to put it in the comments and tell me which book that you want to claim, and I will see you all next week. I am getting on up out of here. Let's do this. And